Ceiling fan blowing cold breeze on your body. I can't tell you really.
Welcome back to another video. I'm so excited to just give a life update and see where this chit chat goes. I want it to be this year consistent within my YouTube and all my platforms. I feel I've been doing so. I feel as though this year God is giving me new relationships to be more responsible in and have more accountability in. If you guys have been following or just tuning in, I'm a married stay-at-home mother of 3 boys, in which 2 are under 3. I have a 1-year-old and just turned 3-year-old, and I am on this content creator wave of learning ways to make money, of healing, releasing, finding community, knowing that I am worthy, and walking into spaces where I am comfortable sharing of my testimony in my mother wound and healing from that, and healing my traumas and traumatic experiences within my relationships and within my internal space within me. And although I didn't even rectify this healing journey as a spiritual one, I knew that I just needed to heal from something, because I felt my internal space always sweet and kind and optimistic and full of positivity, but the things around me were so toxic and negative, where I was inside my head a lot of the time growing up, and in a lot of my adulthood as well. And so when I got to a place of speaking up, a lot of people around me, either by facial expression, by energy, by actually verbally telling me, like my husband, hey, that doesn't sound normal. It doesn't sound like a upbringing I would want our kids to experience, and I'm so sorry that you experienced it. When I had someone talk to me with validation and respect, I really wanted to understand why they thought the opposing party were labeled as abusers, or labeling certain experiences with flat out like rape. When I started to understand that I normalized my first sexual experience as rape, when I normalized that, when I took a step back from the trauma and labeled it as I would label someone else that I would be dealing with in my life coaching or my meditations. If a young girl told me, a male of this age was and they had a sexual experience, I would have so many questions. I would ask her and validate her so many questions. So when I start showing up for myself with those same questions of security and carefulness and kindness, I embraced my truth a little easier, and I was able to speak about it more and more, to the point I started a podcast, which started off as Dear Mama, Hi Daddy, because gosh, reliving some of the abuse or environments that I was placed in situations where I felt were unfair for a child to go through. It took me like almost a year to stop being angry at my own mother. But when I surpassed the anger and the resentment and that want of your childhood back, when I stopped being that stagnant little girl, I moved forward. I moved forward in wanting to inspire others that once you get on the other side of that, the wisdom and the people that you will be able to help with that type of pain. Explained on my podcast, which is now the Healing Homegirls. For those of you who don't know, I have ADHD, so I will veer off a lot. I try to take my notes and stay in the intention of going in order. But even when I veer off, some people actually, I want to walk into spaces where I'm comfortable doing that, because certain people follow along with it, and feel if you're a person like me, I will have 5 different conversations going at once. So that's my channel. Welcome. But I just wanted to give some life updates of where I'm at now, and that pretty much summed it up. I am in a space where I have been boundary setting. I started a small little book club of 2 with me and my best friend, my best friend. We're going to be doing the Emotionally Healthy Woman, and I can't wait to share wisdom that I learned from that journey, because we are taking this serious. We are taking some accountability in showing up for each other, making sure that we're reading the chapters, just getting through a book, because I love to read, and so much time of mine is taken away from my journaling, from just being a mom all day, from resting, from planning content, from getting it out there. So this is going to be kind of a life update, as well as some encouragement for other content creators that have been wanting to start a podcast. I've been getting a lot of questions regarding my podcast and how I started. So that was one. I started with knowing my story, knowing myself, so I can show up as my authentic self, which is this softness, this kindness. It's not just, it's a little bit of me being nervous, knowing that I have to share this, but also I've always been this kind, gentle, self-soothing, self-help, soft tone person, and I want to live in that. It used to make me nervous because a lot of people would question if I was high. Like, are you high, or are you just talking slow? Or other people would make fun of me and say, that I put them to sleep. If you fall asleep to my voice, then that's what you need it for. I have some meditations on my podcast as well. I intentionally have been going into this new year with having a guest. Last year I had a guest every week, and it was so draining for me, but it was an amazing experience to meet all the women that I was able to meet and be social and find community. Definitely appreciate everyone who's been on, but for the edit part and the portion of the content planning, it was exhausting, and I don't feel that it was filling me up in other areas. For the time that I was doing it, it did. It was definitely a learning experience. It was definitely a community build. But in this season, I'm in season 4 now. I'm breaking it down in quarters, so every 3 months I want to kind of shift the topic, but stay on always the topic of healing, of meditation, and something science-based, and just giving more of me, which is you'll be having 5 conversations at once if something I learn reminds me of something I've been through. Because that is my way of releasing the situation, not so I don't go out in the world and overshare that. I feel when I release it in this space, when I intentionally journal, and journal for me is different for everybody, but for me, that's recording videos, that's journaling, writing, that's my voice memos, my podcast. So I'm pouring into myself as well as showing the world that type of vulnerability. So as for starting a podcast, I use the hosting site Buzzsprout, and I can link them at the bottom. What happens with them when you start your account is you can just upload your audio file, and they're the host for Apple, Google, Spotify. So that's the hosting site. They actually have their own YouTube channel that gives you ideas and information and on how to use the system and how to purchase it. And they also give other cool tips of other websites you can use for recording, for the smoothing out your voice, for editing, all that jazz. So that's pretty cool. I had some questions of how I plan my content, having this YouTube, having my podcast, and being on all my platforms and trying to post at least once a week. And that's the thing. I just set a goal, a realistic goal of at least once a week. If I can get to all my platforms, I accomplish something. This year I went in with the intention and goals of at least posting 2 to 3 times a week on each platform. So I upped my game. I feel like I've been doing pretty well on that. Definitely exhausting, but in this season and through my prayer and God, spiritually giving my spiritual advocate, my spirit, speaking to me about how tired I'm going to be, I believe it. I learned to accept it. I heard that I'm going to be exhausted. I heard that it's going to be long nights. I heard that it's going to be early mornings. I heard that there's going to be some rest for a little while. He has me in Revelation and reading about how all of us that are on this spiritual healing journey that started, that come out and speak up about it, whether it's the trauma, whether it's just the encouragement, whether people can choose how vulnerable they want to be. And that's the beautiful thing about God, is we all have different gifts and we are utilizing that in the time that it's needed. So there is no I feel if you resonate with that, there is no better time than now, because a year from now you're going to be at the same place if you don't. And so that's my encouragement, is every year since last year has been getting better for us. There has been some trials, but with the tools that I know of using, with the meditations, with my podcast, with the stuff that God has been telling you to do, it's more of a command. It's not a suggestion. So if you hear him moving you into getting therapy or getting some type of help, or maybe stopping a vice, or starting a hobby, or your drawings again, or your poetry again, or your music again, start it now. Record it, get it out there. There's no better time than now, especially if what you're feeling, if you're feeling like you need to do something, do it internally. If your internal space is just, it feels like your hair is being pulled, it feels like your arms being pulled, it is calling you, just start. So that's number one, just start. It's so cringing for me to post these things and be vulnerable, but God said there will be cringe. My spirit tells me there will be some cringe, but there will be a confidence build that I'm going to need to walk into the spaces that I'm going to be walking into, because I have a lot to say, as you see. And so speaking on my platforms helps me organize that, helps me visualize myself, helps me get better in the content space. Now, told you guys about the hosting site, as well as knowing your niche. If you don't know it, it still start, because the practice of doing the content and recording yourself and seeing your playback and then getting the next idea and recording, you'll end up falling in your niche. So a lot of other content creators tell you know your niche before you start. I would say that is true, and all things can be true at once. I feel know your niche, but if you are scared or don't know your niche, because I found a lot of people in Facebook groups that I follow, that's another one. Follow groups that that will encourage you. If you want to start a YouTube, follow YouTube content creating. I have Rich for Content, Content for Black Girls, whatever resonates with you. Find that Facebook group, look it up, look podcasters, look up certain groups to follow. You can unfollow them if it's not resonating, but adjust your groups in your community and filter out your social media to the things that fit what you want to do. But my thoughts on knowing your niche before you start, I would say just know your top 4 things that you love to do, your hobbies that you love to talk about, or that you don't like to talk about. Like for me, it was the pain of my CSA assault when I was younger. But that pain and me talking about it, it helped me organize what I went through, because it needed to be organized. When you go through a certain trauma, emotional, sexual, or physical, you dissociate a lot of the memories. So with me doing my meditations and recording them, writing them down, reading them, I'm actually doing that. I'm actually meditating as I'm creating the content. So for me, again, it was just a healing process. So whatever it is, top 3, pain, something you love doing, something you're good at, drawing, singing, whatever that is, just start recording yourself. Even if you don't post it in your drafts, and one day maybe just take a deep breath and hit that post, and there you go. So I don't want to take too much of your time. I have more planning to do, but I just want to end with, break it down into quarters. Don't rush yourself. Don't get discouraged because other people might be in your same niche doing more than you. You are going to fit right in the time that's needed for someone that can't reach the next person and reach you. They might prefer you over that person, or both of you, and haven't it's all just a community built. And I feel, what's that saying, like there's a bag for everyone. There is 16 billion or 6 billion people on the internet. You can find your 10,000. There's somebody out there for everyone. And I will see you guys again later for my next video, and check out the links below for my podcast and my TikTok. Please follow me. I do follow back, but I follow back if you have content. If you have real content. If you're following me and expecting a follow back but you have no post, that to me is going to mess up my algorithm. So I'm sorry about that. It's me setting boundaries, new me. But that is the boundary I have with my social media. Other than that, I support, and if it resonates with me, if you're trying, if you're in that beauty space, if you are just a content creator, motivational in any way, self-care, dressing up, anything with confidence build, I will follow you. I will support you. So I hope you can return the same, and love, peace, and happiness. I'll see you guys in the next video.
sincere. Feeling this way since top of the year. Lately we've been real unsure, unclear. Is it just me? Where do you go when you disappear? Tell me your secrets, you got my ear. Room to assume it's feeding my fears. Don't wanna leave, pull me in closer. Can we start over? Don't want nobody but you. No matter what we go through, keeping it between us two, me and you. Can we survive the distance? Don't know what we're missing, but there is a space between us. I know healing ain't instant, but can we survive the distance? Lifetimes are going like years away. More it will grow the more we delay. I'm just hoping it isn't too late. What can I do? Sorry if it's a little cliche. I know we're supposed to live in the gray. Leave it to chance or leave it to fate. But I'm missing you. Pull me in closer. Can we start over? Don't want nobody but you. Keeping it between us two. No matter what we go through.